go to the problem. When you have a problem, it's an opportunity. Go to it, run to it. Don't hide, don't run away, face it.
Today we have Rick Heyland, the president at CI for Life. Welcome, Rick.
Hey, Ryan, how are you? Thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, thank you for being here. We're all interested. Tell us about CI for Life.
Well, when I retired from my consulting, 32 years, I was going to call it a consulting gig, but I guess it was a career. I wanted to contribute and give back. And so my purpose statement is about developing continuous improvement for myself and others. So I thought, well, I want to work part time. So I want to see if I can give back. So I started an online coaching and products business called CI for Life, or Continuous Improvement for Life.
That's fantastic. And how did you get started in that?
Well, as I said, my purpose statement I developed at age 26. I was struggling in an MBA program, and I got to a weekend where it was kind of one of those do or die. I got a test back that wasn't good. I was the youngest person in the class, so it was a bit of a trauma. And I remember one of my mentors and heroes, Stephen R. Covey, author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, as you know, and him talking about mission statements or purpose statements or beginning with the end in mind. So that weekend, as a 26-year-old, I developed this purpose statement kind of out of necessity. Like, why am I here? What am I doing? And that purpose statement that I developed that weekend, it didn't help me be valedictorian of the class or anything. But a year and a half later, when I went to look for jobs, I was struggling to find a job, and up comes a posting with almost the exact words in my purpose statement. And oh my goodness, I was so excited. I went home and told Cheryl, this is my wife. This is amazing. This is exactly why I did that statement, and clarified my purpose and my end in mind. And sure enough, when the posting came back, I wasn't on the list of 10 interviews. So I called them up and said, I said, I think you made a mistake. I should have been on this interview list. And then at that point, the recruiter was saying, well, you're too young, you don't have as much experience, and blah, blah, blah. So basically, I went through the whole purpose statement discussion, and this is what I have, and this is who I am. And it's almost the exact things in your advertisement. So long story short, Ryan, I got an interview. I was 5 o'clock on Thursday, number 11. And I was the only one to get the job. And I retired 32 years later as the COO and the second largest shareholder of a 250 person consulting company. So what that taught me was the power of purpose in business. And so I thought, well, I really want to write a book. And I read this cool book called Write a Book in 90 Days. And so the book's called Live Your Purpose. It's right behind me there, the cover, a step-by-step guide to living your best life. And it's all about how to develop a personal continuous improvement approach with purpose and goals and planning and stress management. So that's why when I retired, I went back to that same purpose statement and said, okay, what's the next step? And that's what came out: the book, the coaching, and the programs on Teachable.
That is great. And it is so important to have that underlying why as to what our life is about. So, Rick, where do you think you bring the most value to the marketplace now?
Well, I think my learnings from consulting and my learnings from the coaching that I've done, really kind of highlights three underlying key success factors. And that's what I'd like to share with your audience. One is developing trust with your customer, or in my case, client. Two is developing trust with your employees and how important that is, and during the employee shortage and everything that's going on there. And then three is having clear why, both personally and as a company, the purpose that we've already talked about. And so that's where I end up spending most of my coaching, most of my writing, most of my thinking, is how can we did it in consulting and 5x'd our business over 10 years, the last 10 years that I was with them. And so that's the three things that I end up coaching around, is how I can help other businesses. These days, Ryan, I'm mostly, and back in the day, I did mostly big business. That's why I was traveling in Australia all those many years, to oil and gas and lumber and mining and other companies that you have in your great country. And today it's mostly small business. And I found a little niche coaching millennials, kind of that 22 to 38, helping them getting their career started. So, but those are the kind of lessons that I'm teaching around how to build trust with your clients, how to build trust with your employees, and then, of course, how to develop purpose.
Yeah, phenomenal. And so, what are some things that maybe took place in you or you've seen take place in clients that are key to taking them from those early stages through to having a really high level of success in their own lives?
So I think I would break it down into knowing the one most important thing that's a driver in your business. For example, in consulting, it was when you're selling non tangible, meaning I don't have a product or a piece of software that I'm selling productivity improvement. What is the one most important thing? Is it managing your finances? Is it taking care of your employees? And in growing a consulting company, the one most important thing in this big ticket sales, we're selling $1 million, $2 million packages over 12 months, 18 months. And that's trust with senior clients. So you say, okay, if that's the one thing, there's a million things to keep you busy in building a consultancy. But if that's your one thing, or in this case was my one thing or our one thing, how do you then you ask the question, well, how do you build trust with senior clients? And this is a learning about building revenue off of trust that I think is applicable to an online business, is applicable to any type of business. And that is when you identify that revenue building, trust building activity with your clients as the most important, uh, there's kind of a process you undergo, particularly with a senior client. If they know that you understand their pain points from their industry in their business, and then you can articulate solutions for those pain points and then deliver on them. That's three steps in there, right? That are not, they're easy to say, but hard to do, right? Identify clearly the pain points, right? In manufacturing operations, where are the typical pain points, pinch points, bottlenecks in a mining operation? And then if you can articulate solutions that make sense to them, and then, of course, the hard part is then delivering on. You've got a growth business and industry. You've built trust with that client. They'll refer you to their sister companies. You'll be able to use them as a reference to grow in. And that's really how we grew. And that's the same thing you grow on an online coaching business, right? Understanding the pain points, articulating those pain points and delivering either through your coaching or through your blog or through your book or whatever, and then delivering and actually helping somebody make a difference in their lives. So hopefully that's kind of, I can't give examples from every industry and every business, but identifying that one thing and then delegating those other things or stop doing them if they're not necessary. And in my case, it was trust with senior clients. And then you put all your energy into, well, how do I build that trust? How do I really identify what's most important to them, where the biggest levers are, and then deliver all my solutions, all my answers, all my products, all my coaching to deliver on those pain points. And it sounds simple to say, but you can spend a lifetime trying to really put a fine point on that and deliver it with excellence.
Yeah, that is the perfect description of a growth business. I love that. And so, could you give us one or two insights, Rick, that gave you the biggest and most dramatic growth for your business?
Well, I tell you, if we had one client was having some safety problems up in the North Slope of Alaska, and you know how treacherous that is in trying to deliver high quality, safe products. And same thing happens offshore in Perth and many other areas in Australia as well. And we had just kicked off. We built some trust with the new leader and just kicked off a new safety program for the workforce. And there was a pretty serious accident about 3 weeks into the program. We really hadn't had time to get traction, and and so what we did is, while the senior team was in Anchorage trying to figure out the problem, or in Perth, or wherever the case may be, Houston, wherever the case may be, we went to the North Slope and spent a week listening, learning, understanding, and then coming back to senior management with even sharper insights, even sharper solutions. And so I think the learning, both personally and corporately, to it is go to the problem. When you have a problem, it's an opportunity. Go to it, run to it. Don't hide, don't run away, face it. It wasn't easy to go to those teams when you've just had an incident in something that you've promised that will get better. And so my one of my learnings to grow your business is always go to the problem. It could actually be a solution. Another time it was in Africa offshore. We actually flew to Africa offshore and sat with the team and then came back to Houston with even deeper insight solutions. So sacrificed our time and energy to fine point the insights and solutions that we had. And that built trust. And then they went to us. They went to us, and then their sister companies went to us because these guys deliver and put their time and energy behind their efforts. And so there's a bunch of learnings in there, but one of them is always go to the problem. Don't hide. Don't go away from it. You know, kind of like what was it, the Tylenol example 20 plus years ago, where instead of, well, yeah, it was our manufacturer's problem. We had a couple of problem capsules on the shelf. They pulled the whole, how much trust did that build for that brand? They pulled the whole inventory in the US where, they could have just said, well, it's an isolated, our margins can't handle it. We'll just replace that store. And boy, did that ever build explosive growth after that setback because they went to the problem. Anyhow, there's a couple of examples there.
I love that using setbacks as a growth platform. That's phenomenal. So, what advice would you give to a business owner or CEO who wants to break through to their next level?
Well, I think the word listening and responding comes to mind. Listening hard to your clients and customers, listening hard to your employees, and then sharpening that with a plan that will deliver to the pain points of your customer, will engage your employees. But I think the first step, if we used to call it in the consulting industry, don't recommend anything. Go in and diagnose first. And that's the same. If you've just been promoted, you've just been shifted to a new shift, a new operation, a new division, or you're the kingpin. Always listen first, diagnose first, come up with a plan, listening to your customers and your employees hard. And if you've just had a setback, do the same thing, even if you've been in the job for 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, whatever it is. But listening isn't just empathically, well, yeah, I really understand. You're also listening for solutions or opportunities to really look for, well, how can we develop an explosive strategic plan to grow out of this challenge? So I guess there's a common theme to my coaching there is that every opportunity, every setback, every miss on a target or a benchmark or a goal is an opportunity to listen, develop a new plan. And if you've listened well to the real pain points of the employees and your customers, you'll come up with a great plan.
Yeah, having that information, having that feedback is incredibly important in all types of business success because you can tailor everything from that point to suit the needs of team or customer or whoever it is that you need that buy-in from. You can meet them where they're at, which is perfect.
Yeah. The other coaching I would have, just real quick, Ryan, around employees, everybody's complaining about not enough staff. And then when they have staff, particularly for small businesses, they're not able to perform at the level the owner or the senior team has done. And, I can do it best. And that leads to a whole bunch of small business owner burnout. And so I have a elegant but simple solution to be able to trust your employees at that level. And it's develop a very simple performance management plan. And it could be as easy as this. What are the 2 KPIs, key performance indicators, that are most important for that job, for your employee's job? Ask them to put it visually on a whiteboard or in a graph or whatever, visual management. And then every Friday, gather small teams together and review and have the employee talk to, here's my 2 key performance indicators. Here's how well I did. Here's my action plan to improve. Here's my highlights of the week. If you just have them answer those 4 questions to measure, that will bring accountability. That will bring engagement. That will give the team owner or team supervisor a chance to give positive feedback or training, appropriate training if it's been a miss or if there's a better way to do it. You do that for a few weeks. You do that simple performance management Friday check in with measures, have them report out with account. Oh man, you will find your employee engagement goes up, your employee skill level goes up, accountability goes up, and your ability to let go, maybe go on a vacation for once, maybe go focus on revenue growth for once. But too many people are so busy in the minutia doing things their employees should do, because they don't have a good system to trust and verify with their team. So that's another solution that I would suggest, Ryan.
I love that. That is, yeah, that is a very simple but very powerful system to implement for employee performance and engagement. That is great. Finally, Rick, who can you best help, and if they want to get in touch, how can they reach out?
Well, today I'm really targeting in the last couple of years two groups. One, millennials and their career. I just put out a program on Teachable called Millennial Money Rich and Happy, trying to help that 22 to 38 range develop a career plan, a net worth plan, if you will, how to 10x their net worth. So that's been a lot of fun. Ryan, over the last 10 years, I've been coaching millennials, probably over 1,000 coaching calls. And so my passion is to help them set up a career for success. And the second group I've been doing a lot with is small business, kind of under 50 employees. And you can see by some of these ideas and that I've talking about around developing trust with clients and purpose and employees. Um, and that's another course on Teachable called Crush Your Goals for Small Business. So those are the two groups I'm targeting right now. I've done big business for many years, but those are the two groups I really want to help right now.
Yeah, I love that. And where is best for us to reach out to you?
Yeah, just go
Website?
on to ciforlife.org. My name is Rick Heyland. Heyland is spelled Heyland, looks Heyland. And the website is ci, the number four, life.org. And you can get me there.
Perfect. Rick, thanks so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate the value and insights that you've been able to give.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks so much.